Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. You know that the NFL offseason is always full of surprises. We've seen trades, signings, and shakeups that could redefine divisions, and this one in particular has been buzzing around the NFL circles for a while now. The Giants, always a team that fans are eager to see rise again, are reportedly involved in a trade that could shake up not just their roster, but the entire landscape of the NFC East. And I'm talking about a potential deal involving none other than Jameis Winston and the New York Jets. Now, this isn't just a rumor. It's a strategic move that could make a lot of sense for both sides, especially as the Jets look to bolster their quarterback room and the Giants reassess their options at backup quarterback. Before we dive deeper into the specifics of this trade, let's look at the current situation with the Giants and the Jets. The Giants, coming off a promising 2024 season where they showed flashes of their potential, are still trying to find that consistency to push them over the top. Their starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, has been solid, but the backup position has been a bit of a question mark. Jackson Dart, who was named the backup over Winston, has shown promise, but the team clearly values experience and veteran leadership in that room. On the other hand, the Jets are trying to find stability behind Justin Fields, who has been their most promising young quarterback. With the recent retirement of Jordan Travis, the Jets are now in a tricky spot. Tyrod Taylor, their backup, who's 36 years old, is experienced but limited, especially after dealing with a knee injury in practice. This is where Jameis Winston comes into the picture. Known for his fiery energy and his ability to stretch the field, Winston could be a valuable addition for the Jets, not necessarily as a starter, but as a veteran presence who can step in if needed. Let's be honest, Winston is a player who can bring a lot to the table, not just from a football standpoint, but also in terms of leadership and locker room presence. The Jets, with their current odds of plus 520 to make the playoffs, are in a bit of a transitional phase. They need depth, experience, and maybe even a bit of that spark Winston can provide. Now, why would the Giants want to trade Winston? Well, for starters, Winston's role with the Giants has been limited. With Russell Wilson firmly established as the starter, Winston has been more of a backup option. But the truth is, Winston and Wilson are quite similar in that neither is viewed as a long-term answer for the franchise. Wilson, despite his ups and downs, is the guy the Giants are banking on for now, leaving Winston as a bit of a redundant piece. The Giants, in their current rebuild, are looking to develop younger quarterbacks and focus on building a sustainable future. Winston, who was the first overall pick in the 2015 NFL Draft, has had some bright moments in his career, but he's never quite reached that elite level that some expected when he entered the league. Let's recall that Winston's best season was in 2019, when he threw for over 100 yards, 33 touchdowns, but also 30 interceptions. That season was a roller coaster, highlighting both his potential and his inconsistency. More recently, in 2024, Winston threw for around 121 yards with 13 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Solid numbers, but not exactly what you'd call franchise-changing. So, in the context of a trade, Winston becomes a valuable yet underrated piece, especially for a team like the Jets that's looking for depth without breaking the bank. In this hypothetical trade scenario, the Giants would send Winston to the Jets, perhaps in exchange for some draft capital or a late-round pick. Winston, in return, gets a chance to compete in New York, where he can be a veteran presence in a locker room that's still trying to find its identity. For the Jets, adding Winston makes sense because he's a guy with NFL experience, someone who can step in if Justin Fields gets hurt or struggles. And let's not forget, Winston's energy and his leadership qualities are often praised by teammates and coaches alike. It's that intangible factor that can sometimes be just as valuable as the stats on the field. Now, it's important to clarify that Winston wouldn't come in to replace Fields as the starter. That's not the plan, at least not immediately. The idea is to have a reliable backup who can also push the starter in practice, bring veteran insight, and help the overall culture of the team. The Jets have struggled with their culture in recent years, and bringing in someone like Winston could be a positive influence, a player who's seen a lot in the NFL and can help guide the young talent around him. If Winston does end up starting, though unlikely, it would probably mean Fields has been injured or is underperforming, which would be a setback for the Jets' season. This kind of move might not be a blockbuster trade that makes headlines across the league, but for both teams, it's a strategic depth addition. The Jets, currently considered outsiders in the playoff race, could benefit from having a dependable veteran in Winston, especially as they navigate a tough AFC landscape. The Giants, meanwhile, can focus on their long-term plans, trusting their young quarterbacks and developing their roster without holding onto a veteran who no longer fits their vision. It's a classic NFL chess move, one that might seem small on paper but could have ripple effects throughout the season. And let's talk about the bigger picture here. The NFL is all about adaptability, and teams that can make smart moves like this often find themselves in better positions come December. The Giants, with their recent draft picks and young talent, are looking to build a sustainable and competitive team. Meanwhile, the Jets are in a win-now window, trying to capitalize on their roster's potential and finally break through that playoff barrier. Bringing Winston into that mix could be the kind of depth move that pushes them closer to their goals, especially if circumstances force them to rely on their veteran. It's also worth noting that Winston's career has been a roller coaster, filled with moments of brilliance and times of frustration. His 2019 season, with over 500 passing yards, is still one of the most interesting statistical seasons in NFL history. And although he's had his share of interceptions, he's also shown resilience and the ability to bounce back. For the Jets, having someone like Winston on the roster might even serve as motivation for Justin Fields, pushing him to elevate his game by having a seasoned player pushing him in practice. Now, as the offseason progresses and more rumors swirl, fans of both teams are eagerly watching to see if this trade actually happens. For the Giants, it's about clearing space, developing their young guns, and not holding on to players who don't fit their future plans. For the Jets, it's about adding that veteran depth, solidifying their quarterback room, and preparing for what could be a pivotal season in their franchise history. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and this potential move involving Winston might just be one of those underrated, yet crucial pieces that could tip the scales for both squads. And remember, folks, this is just a prediction, a scenario based on the current landscape and team needs. Nothing is set in stone yet, but it's the kind of move that makes sense when you analyze the roster priorities and the strategic direction of both teams. It's fascinating to see how these NFL front offices maneuver, trying to find that perfect balance between immediate needs and long-term planning. For the Giants, it's about stability and development, while for the Jets, it's about short-term competitiveness and building a winning culture. So, as we keep an eye on the NFL news cycle, stay tuned to your favorite sources, because this could be the kind of move that surprises everyone. Whether it actually happens or not, it's a great example of how NFL teams are constantly looking for ways to improve, adapt, and stay ahead of the competition. And for us fans, that's what makes this league so exciting: the constant drama, the strategic chess matches, and the hope that your team will find that perfect piece to push them to the next level. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So what do you think, Giants fans? Do you see Winston as a valuable addition for the Jets? Or do you think the Giants should hold on to him and see if he can help them in some way? This is the kind of scenario that sparks debate and gets fans talking. And honestly, that's what makes following the NFL so thrilling. Every move, every trade, every signing can shift the entire landscape of a division, and right now, the NFC East is as competitive as ever. The Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and now, potentially, the Giants and Jets are all trying to position themselves for that coveted playoff spot and ultimately a Super Bowl run. And as we wrap up, I want to remind you all that I'll be keeping a close eye on this situation. We'll see if the rumors turn into reality, and I'll be here to break down every twist and turn along the way. So make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay with us for all the latest updates. Your passion fuels this channel, and I love sharing this journey with each and every one of you. Remember, the NFL is unpredictable, but that's what makes it so special. One move, one trade, one game can change everything, and I can't wait to see how this story unfolds. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all very soon with more NFL news, analysis, and of course, updates on the New York Giants. Keep the faith, Giants fans, big things are coming.